Hey, John Gilroy here. Innovation is difficult in the for-profit world and almost impossible with large organizations. Today, we focus on successful innovation at the United States Air Force. Hit the music, Manny. Welcome to the Federal Tech Podcast, a podcast that connects you to federal technology leaders. My name is John Gilroy, and I'll be your moderator. Our guest in the virtual studio is Rob Bocek, Chief Revenue Officer for Virtualitics. Change is tough for big organizations. I saw your background. You've been involved in big organizations. It's frustrating and almost impossible to do, isn't it, Rob?
Yes, sir, John. Absolutely. Appreciate the time, and good afternoon to you and for the listeners. Really exciting time here, frankly, in the defense tech space. We're really seeing a tremendous shift here and looking at innovation in a way that really hasn't been looked at before. Innovation and speed and mission impact, really the areas that we're focused on here at Virtualitics.
Well, let me set the stage. United States Air Force, 750 bases, 80 countries. A lot of the equipment is literally in the air. I mean, trying to innovate in that area has got to pose some really, really serious problems. So let's just open up real quickly and say, let's talk about these challenges you encountered and how you went about solving the problem.
Yeah, John, I appreciate the question. Virtualitics has really kind of been at the forefront of applying advanced AI to look at various problem sets. We've been at it since 2016. We came out of the Caltech NASA JPL space and really looked at applying or areas where our AI capability would have the greatest impact. We know, based on what we hear countless times, that readiness is the number one priority across the Department of Defense. When we say readiness, we're talking specifically about asset availability, hardware, weapon systems, ships, aircraft, tactical vehicles, things of that nature. Also, the readiness of personnel. Material storage and planning optimization is another key area. And even understanding, frankly, from a threat vulnerability, from a cyber standpoint, how that can impact or degrade overall readiness. So Virtualitics has really been focused on helping to close those gaps across the readiness landscape.
Okay, I teased that silly opening, 750, but it's true. They have hundreds of bases everywhere, assets in the air. So what were the logistic challenges that the Air Force was facing when Virtualitics worked in?
Yeah, I think maybe specifically where we started within the Air Force, as an example, and that is one of our flagship customers here today, our accounts today. This actually started back during COVID. There was a lot of concern about the pandemic and the need for, if we had to quarantine, say, missile teams or our strategic bomber crews, what would that impact be on the readiness of the basically two-thirds of the nuclear triad? And so what decisions should commanders make in really understanding those downstream effects, those, as we say, second and third order effects? These are some of the challenges where we were brought in to use and apply our advanced AI to help create optionality within that decision space for the commanders. So that's where it started. Our approach is very different than most. We are really applying a holistic approach to not just understanding the problem set, but accessing these, I'll say, exquisite stovepipes of data. It's not enough to understand that something may fail or degrade at some point in time in the future. That's not enough. As a decision commander and being a former naval officer and a commander in naval special warfare, I felt that as well. That doesn't tell me what decisions I should make. What can I do about the problem set? So that's where Virtualitics really offers a lot of differentiation. We're looking at things like degraders on, say, weapon systems. We're tying into supply chain databases. We're able to determine part availability. We're looking at things like contention for spare parts. Then we even look at things like specialized equipment needed to do some of these repairs. Things like jack stands, power generators, cranes, as auxiliary equipment. And then there's the personnel side. Do we have the right people trained and certified and equipped and on site to conduct these repair jobs? So it really is a holistic approach using AI to synthesize all the options and really provide recommended courses of action, kind of triaged courses of action that then commanders can use as a basis to make and formulate their decision from. We don't replace the human in the loop, clearly, but we provide optionality. And I think, John, the other key component here for any type of AI application is explainability. It's not enough and it's not effective to have a black box that's just providing recommendations. if we can't understand where those recommendations were formulated and the so what behind it, it's very difficult to gain and garner the trust of the end user.
I tell you, I love the word X because usually when you talk to satellite people, that's where the word pops up. So I know you got some background with the Space Force, with maybe some aerospace concepts that you're not talking about. That's a very, very localized word for that community. But and there's just so many different complex parts to these satellites, and it gets very difficult just to find out where they're at. I've taught a lot of lectures on innovation, and I always use Christensen's book, The Innovator's Dilemma, and he talks about large organizations, and he says, you have to listen to the customer first. And sometimes he says you physically have to remove yourself from the big organization in order to get that innovation and listen to the customer. So who did you guys listen to?
Great question. And actually, we see this all the time, frankly. Getting as close to the end user as we possibly can is probably the most critical and important part of this. Building capability, advanced capability kind of in the blind, and then bringing a fully tailored solution forward and expecting anybody to use it and have trust and confidence in that solution is not a very effective way to move forward with innovation. We really we care very much about the end user, their experience, what problems they're trying to solve, where their biggest pain points are. And then, frankly, where can we take some of our existing and proven technology, and how can we adapt that? How can we modify it? How can we configure it to rapidly bring these capabilities forward and into the mission? And then we iterate, John, from there. I think one thing that's very unique to Virtualitics is we can bring capability to life, real mission impact within 3 to 4 months. And then we continue to iterate based on that feedback from those end users. And those end users can be everybody from, say, a junior E4, E5, say on the flight line from a maintenance standpoint, all the way up to a 2 or a 3-star general officer looking at using AI to help with resourcing decisions. We're democratizing AI across the force. Maybe one way to look at it is we're almost retooling the force, depending on what that mission vertical is. Everybody should have access to these tools, not just data scientists. And that's important because that goes into the design of these capabilities. They have to be designed and built in a fashion so it's approachable and it's explainable so everyone can use it and benefit.
Now we talk about pro football. When you watch TV, it's always Rob Bocek. He played offensive guard from the Detroit Lions for 10 years. And when he interviews someone, it's like, here's a guy who's been beat up and knocked around. It resonates, And someone like you, we drop you in Elgin Air Force Base and you talk to some guy in a hangar, you're not going to come across as someone, a highfalutin intellectual. It's like, yeah, I've been there, done that. And so I think this is it's the move from officially having a conversation you really communicate. I think that's what your unique background gives you, that ability to understand, because this superficial understanding, it's not going to get you anywhere. You have to really understand. So what are you really saying? And that's your strength, Rob, I think.
I think, that it really centers on trying to get to the core of what is the problem. I think
that's it.
In many cases, various organizations across the DoD will come with what they already believe to be the solution. Whereas if we really get to the folks that are kind of at that pointy edge and really understand what's the pain that they're experiencing, what are we trying to solve, it may take a different, it may completely manifest itself in a different way. I'll say the other thing too, John, where we've had the greatest success in our partnership with DoD and on this journey, frankly, is with the organizations where leadership is willing to lean in and take a little bit of risk. Artificial intelligence, it's been around for a while, but the adoption of AI is still relatively new. There's new positions being formed, like the chief AI officer as an example, that's starting to build guardrails of where these use cases can be, provisioning infrastructure. But it really is these mission end users that I think are going to drive the use cases, and those that are willing to lean into the problem with industry and learn fast, fail fast sort of thing. That's where we're starting to see the biggest impact on the ROI in the space. Those mission verticals that are waiting for top-down directives to flow from the senior echelons may be waiting for many years before they're able to fully benefit from the capabilities that exist today.
So put on your analyst hat here, and if you just look at the community the last 5 to 7 years, I think what's happened is there's been, maybe in the last 4 months, a transition from razzle dazzle, look at this, to, okay, so what, Rob? It can do this and that. Yeah. Can this help me get a part to the West Coast quicker? And it's almost like I think people are sick of it. I don't want to dazzle. Tell me how I can do something effectively. And so I think that's one key to Virtualitics is that, being customer focused, you're not going to worry about the dazzle. You're about solving the problem. And it is a logistical problem. And believe me, in 2021, I was on the West Coast in Long Beach, and I was on a boat, and I saw those ships stacked up out there. How many of Rob's parts are on those containers? I don't know. I mean, and there's practical problems here. So how does Virtualitics approach just keeping up with the transitions and new technology with AI?
Yeah, again, John, great question. This is a space where technology is evolving rapidly, and when we mean rapidly, we're talking days, weeks, months. We at Virtualitics really think even in terms of hours. How do we get the most out of each day, each hour with the team? How can we add efficiencies across the board? I will tell you, part of it is we have some really great partnerships on the technology side, and looking at how, where do we want to advance next? Again, to your earlier point, though, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? What's the impact that we're having today? Can we have an even greater impact if we start to move the technology in another direction? And so that's where it's really important as a small business to make sure that our field teams are very closely aligned with our product teams that are building out the next series of features, that they are purpose built, and there's a lot of thought put into this because direct line to the impact that's going to affect our customers. And this is one of the benefits, I think, of a smaller business. Having spent almost 7 years at Microsoft and then about 8 or 9 years in various defense tech startups, it really is these, I call them asymmetric upstarts that understand acutely the problem set and are able to move through the minutia, the bureaucracy, the layers, sometimes internal to industry, but to cut through that and bring capabilities forward at a speed, at a velocity that Department of Defense, frankly, has not seen before. That's really our calling. That's what's expected of industry, especially right now. We cannot afford to sit back. We have to lean into the problem in partnership with our DoD customers. And that's also how we're aligning our other partnerships here, both on the product and the engineering side, as well as from a go-to-market standpoint. Who are those partners that we want to lock arms with and lean into the problem and bring impact to the mission? I
got up early this morning, did some research on the company and read some of your success stories. There's plenty of them. And I wrote down this phrase, kind of it's something that people don't look at AI and use it for. It says Virtualitics develops anomaly detection systems using machine learning and AI to monitor activity in real time, improving cybersecurity. And so it's not just a matter of seeing a pattern, but it's trying to detect where this pattern can impact either cybersecurity or maybe a parts supply that has to go to Alaska and you didn't realize something happened. So it's maybe there's a new college major, applied AI, huh?
I think that's another great topic. We are not a cyber company. That is not really an area that frankly we see ourselves in. However, our AI is very advanced, very capable, and when we merge that with some of our 3D visualization technology, now to non-data scientists, as an example, insights are quickly consumed. And in the case of the kind of threat detection, understanding breach points, vulnerabilities within a very dynamic, very fluid environment from a cyber standpoint, it is very, very important, critically, to have those insights and then understand, again, more importantly, what should I do about it? What is my impact from an overall readiness posture? So that's kind of, again, from a Virtualitics standpoint, we're really positioning ourselves as the mission AI company that's bringing advanced AI forward to solve those gaps in readiness. And again, it's not just around the maintenance and the sustainment of assets, understanding the gaps in the workforce, looking at things like gaps in the training pipeline. How does that impede surge capacity? Looking at material storage and how do we optimize munitions. That's an example of something we're currently doing with the Air Force. But then also, to your point, the cyber component, all of that really is attacking the broader picture around those gaps in readiness.
Readiness. I think there's an event coming up that your company is sponsoring in September. It's called the Frontiers of AI for Readiness Summit. Is that what's going on?
Yes, sir. John, this is really our Virtualitics call to action. Many of our engagements with senior leaders across the federal government have all stated, again, AI really coming on strong, there's a need, really an appetite to understand how do we push the boundaries with artificial intelligence? How should we be thinking about maybe building a framework around the various use cases? How do we learn from each other so we're not constantly reinventing the wheel? And so we understand that, the Department of Defense and frankly, even many of the federal civilian agencies are looking to partner with industry, partner with academia. Some of the leading Caltech professors that are thinking 3, 5, 10 years out in the future, what are the things that they're working on? How do they see the threat landscape evolving? And so that's what Virtualitics has brought together, various industry leaders. Some of the senior, some of the most senior folks in DoD within these mission verticals. We're bringing in some of the Caltech staff that are running the data science and AI efforts. We're even looking at bringing some of the folks that are on the Hill, because everybody plays a part in this. It's not just about industry. It's not just about the end users. We need the academics. We also need the venture capital community. So we'll have some investors there. Everybody plays a part in this in order for us to move innovation faster. And so we're excited to put this together in early September. We'll be hosting this at Caltech, and we're excited to open it up to some of your listeners as well too. It is an invite by invitation only event, but we're excited to have a bi-directional conversation around the problem set and really discuss what's needed in terms of the various technology.
And if you're listening to this and walking your dog in the bike path or something, what I'll do is I'll put a link to this event in the show notes, and you get a link back to Virtualitics. You'll find out exactly how to participate in this discussion with the folks out in California. You used the word guidelines or guardrails earlier. And what I see a transition in the federal government is where last year, maybe the overview would be, you got to be careful and you have your guardrails. This year, I see some of the guardrails coming down saying, just innovate. Mm-hmm. So good observation, bad? What's your observation here in just trends in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think we're definitely heading toward the right direction for sure. I think there definitely needs to be some North Stars. What are we innovating toward? Again, what are the problems we're trying to solve? And how quickly do they need to be solved? And I think that there's a lot of great promise out there. There's some great organizations that are really looking to deepen their relationships with industry. We're really seeing kind of a new paradigm where some of these smaller, earlier stage companies are really getting a much bigger piece of the pie. And again, I think it's that speed, it's that the ability to iterate more rapidly with the customer community, to listen, to learn together, and then again bring these capabilities to life. And so we're excited to be part of this. We call the AI revolution, frankly, and really thankful for the partnerships that we've cultivated along the way.
So what kind of partnerships are you looking for? If someone's listening to this podcast now and maybe has an AI startup, what kind of characteristics do you think might fit in with helping you solve some problems for the DoD? Great question. I think there's various types of partnerships. I mean, clearly there's various technology partnerships. We're always looking at some of the various LLMs and how we can improve our products and our platform and our readiness AI applications. We're also looking at the partnerships that can help us scale. I mean, we're a very lean company that's focused on building these AI applications, the most sophisticated cutting edge AI. In order to scale and deploy those applications, we're looking for partners that understand the mission space and can help us even penetrate other mission verticals. And then there's relationships, frankly, with the various cloud solution providers. Very, very important from that ecosystem, being able to service really any customer in any cloud of their choice, both within the U.S. as well as even our international public sector customers as well too. So we're very excited about the next couple months and years here at Virtualitics. And excited about how we continue to expand our partner ecosystem with that. In North Pole, Alaska, there's an Air Force base up there. And if you're in North Pole, Alaska, you probably get 1,000 things to worry about as far as parts, logistics, preventive maintenance. I mean, there's so much going on. And it's a distance challenge to get up there, scheduling. What are they going to pull out 5 hours every night and just keep up with current trends in AI and how it can help with logistics? You can't. You got to rely on someone like you who's going to almost be an intermediary between, all of this fire hose of innovation coming in, and then you take Christensen's book and try to apply it to one specific problem. It's a good position to be in, but I don't know. It's going to be overwhelming, I think, Rob. I mean, really, what's going on the next 20? I don't know.
Well, you bring up a really good point too, John. I think all these capabilities that are coming down the pipe and being fielded, they need to be built in a way so that they're intuitive. Again, so it's not just the data scientists and the technical crowd that can use these tools and consume those insights. But again, they have to be built in a way that can be democratized so that anybody can benefit. Quick story. A few months ago, we provided one training event for a few hours to one of the senior non-commissioned officers within the Air Force. Had only been exposed to the tool total for probably less than 2 weeks, and unassisted was able to look at some AI-driven insights over 10 years of historical data, and was able to recognize a potential failure point on some sort of a external power generator. It was with regards to one of our strategic bombers, brought that information and those insights forward, and was able to get ahead of a potential, I won't say a catastrophic event, but something that would have grounded the aircraft. That's really exciting for us because it shows the elegance of how our solution is built, that, with one training event and again, unassisted, they're able to now use these capabilities to the fullest extent possible. Pretty exciting. What we've also seen too is initially we thought, okay, well, we'll roll in with our training teams and we'll embed with our users, get them smart on the technology, and then we'll disengage and then they're off. What we've seen is actually a lot of our customers, they want us not just to teach them to fish, but they like to have us fishing with them, alongside them, using our own capabilities, leveraging some of our data scientists, and bringing insights and sharing those insights as well. So this is something we hadn't really anticipated, but we're excited to be really nested in the mission with our technology and our teams, our delivery teams, sitting side by side.
Wow, it seems like a good way to apply artificial intelligence to solve some problems in the federal government, and having those tools available and not realizing what things can do. It's amazing, especially with all kinds of technical components. Well, great. I will put a link to the event in the show notes, and perhaps get together again and maybe take one small problem and expand on that and talk about how new developments in technology or new partnerships you have can help solve problems in the federal government. You have been listening to the Federal Tech Podcast with John Gilroy. I'd like to thank my guest, Rob Bocek, Chief Revenue Officer for Virtualitics. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, John.